Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Minash. On today's show, we're talking about my personal experience with the media. I also want to be careful to make sure this does not come across as sounding like a bunch of conspiracy theories. There's an accepted social norm called social proof. This is based on the idea that if you say that you're great, that's not as powerful as having someone else say that you're great. That's why reviews for a hotel on TripAdvisor are more valuable than a glossy advertisement from the hotel itself saying how great the hotel is. But we can also imagine that maybe not all of the reviews on TripAdvisor are genuine, and maybe some have been planted by people connected with the hotel. The long list of glowing reviews can sometimes overshadow a small number of negative reviews. The question is, what is a more accurate reflection? Are the negative reviews more accurate? Who's really to know? We tend to believe what we see, what we read, and what we hear in the news. I've been interviewed in the news many times over the years. Each and every time, what was reported as a result of that interview did not match what was actually said in the interview. And it's sometimes hard to tell whether the inaccuracy is the result of impatience on the part of the editor, or if there's an agenda designed to twist what was said to fit a particular narrative. Well, in the past 2 weeks, our team was the target of several news reports in a French-language newspaper surrounding a project that we have underway in the region of Canada's national capital. The process by which these news reports was generated was far from what you would expect from a paper that represents to adhere to standards of journalism. The first fact is that the information contained in the news report was 90% false. I could only describe the article as 10% true, and often, lies have a small amount of truth connected with them in order to create an air of legitimacy. Our team was not offered the opportunity to comment on the story. We were not interviewed at all. Instead, the newspaper interviewed the National Capital Commission, a government body that owns the land but are not actually connected with the project. That was their attempt to create a balanced story. So when the National Capital Commission really had nothing to say about it, the news reporters shrugged their shoulders and figured they were writing a balanced article. Then there was a second article, and then a third. None even attempted to produce a balanced story. In the middle of all this, we continued to host public events like weekend artisan markets. Visitors to the market would approach our staff expressing anger about what our project represented. And when they learned that we were not cutting trees to make room for parking and that we were not performing countless other sins, they immediately became supporters of the project. But in the meantime, their opinion had been shaped by a false narrative. Clearly, we don't have the same impact by talking to people one-on-one, the small percentage that we actually managed to reach, compared with an established newspaper in the local community. Somehow, people formed opinions based on rumors and falsehoods that were propagated by this one media outlet. The source of the initiative for this story is likely someone within the community who has a particular agenda, and I don't know, maybe they work for the newspaper, maybe they don't. Our project was scheduled to be reviewed by the Planning Committee for a change of use application, and by the end of the week, the City Council held a vote in which it was decided that our project would not even be considered by the Planning Committee, would not even be offered the opportunity to have our application heard. Now, I'm not going to make any comment on the legality of that vote at the moment. What I'm observing is that the public opinion can easily be shaped by false information. That, of course, is nothing new. We're increasingly living in a world where information is so readily available that it's easy to believe you're receiving good information. After all, information travels quickly through our digital channels. Which then brings me to the topic of artificial intelligence. We've seen the ability for artificial intelligence to create and package very professional-looking photos and videos. It was always possible to doctor photos and information, but it took a lot more effort. With AI tools, it's easier than ever. And I personally am experiencing a market increase in email marketing and advertising that is much more targeted to me than ever before. This content is clearly AI generated, and we can only expect the adoption of these techniques to increase more broadly. Expect your email and social media to be carpet-bombed with AI generated content in the coming weeks and months. Now this week, I heard a story about a person who I know personally who was the target of a scam. The scam was a phone call where the caller claimed to be holding their daughter hostage, and they demanded ransom or the daughter would be harmed. The daughter could be heard screaming and pleading in the background for the mother to pay the ransom and help secure her freedom. Now, in truth, the daughter was just fine, and the scam artist had somehow used artificial intelligence to synthesize the narrative of a screaming female in the daughter's voice. The fake was very convincing. And just like the media stories about our project sounded very convincing as well, they too were false. I'm observing firsthand that lies can somehow be told more convincingly than ever before, and the power of AI tools can be used to turbocharge propaganda and to turbocharge a particular narrative. These are not conspiracy theories, this is direct observation, and I'm truly saddened by the extent to which people will go to try and perpetrate a scam. What this means is that for you as the listener, you need to look at any content that's coming in your direction with a much more critical eye than ever before. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.